Welcome back to another episode of All Things Weather with Anthony and Brody. So last night, I don't know if you saw it, there was quite a display of the Northern Lights quite on display across the United States. This picture by Nicholas Herboso out of Lottie, Alabama. This is far south. Lottie is in Baldwin County, Alabama. So the people were able to see it as far south as the Gulf Coast. Brandon Richards took this picture out of Albany, New Mexico. I like that picture. We go on to Melissa Sizemore out of Shelby County. Took this picture. Now, I like this one because you got kind of maybe some light pollution interacting with the colors. I like that. Dylan Huller took this picture out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And our last stop of the pictures is the Bahamas. Kevin Bente took this picture. Thank you all for those pictures. We loved seeing them. So what are the Northern Lights? What are the Aurora Borealis? Let's talk about it. Solar wind is basically heat and charged particles that travel or emitted by the sun travel through space. Sometimes, well, most of the times we have a shield that kind of protects us from the sun, and then the sun will sometimes emit more charged particles than normal. Sometimes we get a little bit more, and that's when we start to get into those geomagnetic storms. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But during a solar storm or a geomagnetic storm, whatever you want to call it, these extra charged particles sometimes reach the Earth's poles. And in this case, the northern pole or North Pole is when you could see some of the charged particles and reach that area. Now, you start to get in collisions and some gases start to interact with each other. Charged particles from the sun collide with oxygen and nitrogen in the Earth's atmosphere. Then you start to get some colors. A lot of you saw those pinks, those blues, those greens, kind of purplish colors. So red and green, that kind of goes with oxygen. Nitrogen, kind of that bluish pink purple type color. And of course, every gas does different types of colors. The shapes, sometimes you saw some funky shapes maybe in the northern latitudes near the Canadian border, things like that. And that's just really depending on the viewing position and where the Earth is at that moment in its position. So let's talk about the geomagnetic storms. What are the different levels and all that kind of stuff? So level 1, a G1, it's very minor. We say it a lot, but really far North Pole, up in the North Poles can see the Northern Lights. So that sometimes you can see them as far south as northern Maine, far northern Maine, but mostly Canada up into the North Pole can see them. A G2 or level 2 can be seen as far south as northern Idaho, northern New York, places like that. G3 or level 3, we start to get into that strong solar storm, a strong geomagnetic storm. You can be seen as far south as southern Illinois or even parts of central Oregon. Now, G4 or level 4, this is what we had occur last night. You can see them as far south as northern California or northern Alabama. Now, if you remember, we also saw the Northern Lights in May. That was a G5 storm. So a G5 storm, you can see them as far south as central Texas or northern Florida. Now, last night we did get close to a G5 storm. We were almost just shy of a G5 storm. So that's why some people as far south as the Gulf Coast, the Bahamas, places like that, were able to see them because we are so close to a G5 storm. So that's about talking about what happened last night in the night sky. Anthony, let's send it over to you to check on that local forecast.
Well, Bertie, some of those pictures were absolutely stunning. And by the way, you didn't include my photo. I took some really nice photos yesterday, and you didn't include them. Whoa, we got a little friend here. He's trying to infiltrate my conversation to you, Bertie. But overall, right now, it is very low humidity. We're on the left side of the scale for humidity. Beautiful blue skies. We're not noticing a lot of fall foliage right now with a lot of greens going on, but that will change very quickly. Right now, we're just under this low color, which you see in the yellows in North Mississippi. I blew up a whole picture of the United States, so you can really see up towards the upper plains and the Rockies. Some of the areas are in past color, but that's where they're seeing those colors right now. We'll have to wait a little bit, but they are coming. Right now, all the colors that you'll probably see are due to the drought. I mean, Starkville, we're under a 2 out of 4 drought. and area wide, so we do need the rainfall, and we're not going to really get a lot of it. If you step outside this morning, we're noticing dry conditions, and we're noticing cool conditions as well. We're in the 50s overall across the board. It'll be a similar story as you're heading out the door early on your Saturday. For the last couple of days for me, I haven't really gotten early starts because we're in fall break. It's kind of like a relaxing type vibe, but yeah, if you are early for the morning bike ride or run, temperatures will be in the lower 50s. Now we'll be warming up pretty nicely into the mid 80s, and those temperatures will be fairly warm in the afternoon. So you're gonna need the sunscreen, but probably because of all the sunshine, sunglasses, and short sleeves definitely tomorrow afternoon. With that, no mention of rainfall continuing. Now we will get a front, and this is the big story. That's going to be coming in on your Monday. The lower 40s are going to be possible on your Tuesday morning, and in the afternoon, we won't even reach 70 degrees. We'll be in the upper 60s for afternoon temperatures, and then the coolest night I do think will be Wednesday morning. Well, you're seeing this right. Upper 30s are going to be widespread across North Mississippi. Now, these below normal conditions will continue. We're kind of on this east side of this warm up here. Notice how there's more southerly flow out towards the Midwest. We'll kind of stay mild here into next week. So we're looking at a prolonged period of some fall-like weather. Now this is about normal for this time of year. Our first low in the 30s is October 22nd. Our first high in the 60s is usually October 7th. And that's going to happen, I do think, on October 15th. So just about climately normal. And we do need the rainfall, like I mentioned a little bit earlier. We're about 5 to 10 inches short over the last 365 days. And there's a risk of rapid onset drought. So those two things we're watching for cooler temperatures, and those cooler temperatures are not really coming with a lot of rain, and then we do need that rainfall. You can see on my 7-day updated forecast where we will get warm by Sunday, but then a drastic drop for Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm expecting 2 days with high temperatures in the upper 60s, and then a couple mornings here in the upper 30s for low temperatures before we finally start rebounding for late next week.